There were two great Australian pastimes, watching sport and taking the piss. And I sort of stumbled across this combination of putting them together, but it just got this word of mouth thing going, you know, where people were saying, "Oh, have you heard this guy taking the piss out of Richie Benaud? Well, you've got to hear it. And next minute, I came into the charts at 10, and the next week I was number 1 and spent 4 weeks there. And it was the first spoken word comedy record that had ever been number 1 on the Australian charts, and I had 7 of them in a row. Well, one of the first things that I wanted to do when I decided to do it was I wanted to have Richie, because to a large extent because of that image that you just, he was sort of the white knight. He always had the cream, the band, the white, the off-white, the ivory, got the beige jacket and silver hair, always perfect. And he always came across as impeccably presented and well turned out. So I wanted him swearing as if it was the most natural thing in the world to do. And I was very particular about the first time anyone was ever going to hear the 12th Man, it had to be just slided in there as if it was the most natural thing to do. And I just, welcome back to the MCG and welcome to our Melbourne viewers for the first time today. Marvellous day for cricket here today. Although around about 9:45 this morning, there was a massive thick black cloud just hovering over the MCG, and then they just didn't disappear. It's like people said when they were first listening to it, they were thinking, first of all, why am I hearing Richie Benaud on FM radio? And secondly, they're going, Jesus Christ, did they just have to bleep him out? Did Richie just say, A guy from Melbourne radio rings me up and says, "This is you, isn't it?" I said, "Yep." He said, "Good, because I've just sent a copy to Benno." Oh, I've gone, "Geez, mate, couldn't you give it a chance to bloody sell a few or something? He might slap an injunction on me or something." He said, "Well, I've sent it to him." He said he's going to listen to it on the weekend, and I'm interviewing him on Monday morning. Oh, and I had a sleepless weekend thinking, what the hell's he going to say? Anyway, I am thrilled to tell you, and I still have a reel-to-reel tape of the interview. He said, "Yes, my wife and I have been listening to it in the flat all weekend, and my wife said, gee, he's got you down to a T, hasn't he? And he's done a marvellous job. And I'm heading off to England to call the series over there tomorrow, and I'm making sure I take a few copies with me. I've got friends over there who'll be rolling about the floor laughing at this." So, you know, praise the Lord, I was thrilled that, you know, Richie had had that sort of reaction. Tony Gregg, more than any of the other commentators, really appreciated it. He said, "I can't believe what bloody, you know, people are winding down car windows and saying, oh, blow it out your arse, Tony," and all this sort of. So, and he said, "I'm telling you now," he said, "you've put an extra zero on my after dinner speaking fee." He said, "You know, I'm more famous now than I would have been." And so, and Richie was the same, but to a lesser extent. Because I think what happened with Richie is he just got sick of people asking him about the 12th Man. So Richie, but he always used to make this point whenever anyone would ask him about the 12th Man, he'd say, "He's a very clever guy, he does a good job, but I don't like all of the swearing that he does." And then he started to add this new thing on. I took a bit of exception to his recent album where he had my wife on it. All I did was have everything in the household, everything in the Benno household was commentary speak. So Richie comes down to the kitchen and his wife says, "Welcome back to the kitchen, love." And he says, "Thanks, Pet. Marvellous to be joining you in the kitchen for the first time today," you know. So it was just an idea to have everything commentary speak, you know. But I don't think a 12th man could be born today. I think the politically correct brigade would howl me down, and it would be just in the too hard basket to even try and come do something. Even though nothing I've ever done on record says anything at all about race, creed, or culture. It's pure wordplay on the name. If the guy's name's Asif, well, it's just Asif I give a shit, and Asif you give a shit, and Sunil Havaskar becomes Kali Zamanaf and Sunil Havaskar. You know, it wasn't saying anything about race, creed, or culture. It was purely wordplay. Richie, all of those guys, they couldn't fail to see that the success of the 12th Man was having nothing but a positive knock-on effect for Channel 9's coverage of cricket and for their own individual reputations. I mean, they went from being former great cricketers and current TV stars to being cult figures, because all of the 12th Man lines that I had attributed to Richie Benaud. Now, Bill Laurie was, "Got him, ass, piss off, you're out, tell your story walking. Well, get him up here, I want to buff him." And Richie's, you know, marvellous effort that, and chew for 22, and cream the bone, the white. All of those lines that I'd attributed to each of those characters just became famous lines in Australia. And I'd say, "Richie, marvellous effort that, 2 for 22, and I asked Tony Gregg at one stage there after 6, I said, do people do the same thing to you when they see you? Like, if you're walking off an aeroplane and you're going through the concourse at the airport, do people see you and go, oh shit, there's Tony Gregg, and come running up? He said, all the time. And I said, what do they say to you? He said, all of the lines off your records. They all go, blow it out your arse, Tony. And